Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Eljay Johnsen Show. This show airs every single weekend, every Saturday, at 4 o'clock p.m. EDT. Unless it's at another time, in which case I will update on Twitter at the Eljay Johnsen. Go ahead and follow me for a good time, including updates to the show as well as guest announcements every Tuesday. If you have any questions over the week, make sure to send those over to my email, ljjohnson@gmail.com. Okay. Without further ado, I'm quite excited for my next guest. Many of you have heard tales of knights of old, specifically those known as the Knights of the Thick Table. One of those knights, in their glorious quest for glory and treasure, managed to procure the greatest treasure of all, the Holy Grail. That's right, the Legend of Mata Nui. I am, of course, talking about, he's been everywhere, he's here, right now. You know him, you love him, it's Liam, also known as Vahkiti. How you doing today?
Hello, my children.
Wow, your
I
voice.
am ThiccBricc. Hail to the king, baby.
Oh, there are so many stories, man. How's it going?
Well, I'm extremely tired, but I am alive and keeping an eye on the bug reporting channel because there were so many, so many.
Fair enough. I mean, you know what they say, 99 bugs up on the wall, 99 bugs on the wall, take one down, pass it around, 126 bugs on the wall.
Yep. It's just, we only had our small team to work with for the last month, so it's just been like, now it's public and all these different systems are piling in at once with their issues. I forgot how stressful this was.
Well, it's a pretty momentous occasion. I think that it goes without saying that this day is fairly historic for BIONICLE and the BIONICLE community, as this is a game that has gone unseen for the last 17 years, and I'm going to go ahead and first focus on you. So go ahead and introduce yourself, let everyone know who you are, what you do, and how you got into LEGO.
Well, I go by Vahkiti just about everywhere. I'm a part of the YouTube channel, the Beaverhouse. We mainly do Let's Plays and stuff like that. We've been doing a lot of BIONICLE content recently after the alpha of Legend of Mata Nui leaked before. I don't remember exactly if I had any specific way of getting into Lego. It was just at one point my mom got me a set, and I liked it, and we kept getting them. There was a specific point where I got into BIONICLE, if I'm allowed to elaborate on that.
Please do.
Well, I was at there was a department store in Canada here called Zellers at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go in there with my grandmother. She'd always take me to the toy department, let me pick out one thing. Well, I saw two things at the time. This was 1997-ish.
Mm-hmm.
I saw two things. A Digimon Demi-Vmon plush, which I really, really liked, and it was adorable, and I'm sitting on eBay for... Sorry. I've seen it around. It's adorable. I can still get it, but it's like $70. Because it's apparently like collectible now, but I digress. I saw that, or I saw the Throwbot Granite.
Granite?
And I could only pick one. Well, here we are today, so you can imagine what my decision was.
Yeah, the plush, of course. I mean, this is a Digimon podcast.
Believe me, if I have the money to spare, I will still be buying that plush off eBay. Oh, if anyone wants to get it for me. No, just kidding.
The offer's out
there. I did ultimately decide on the Throwbots, and, you know, it's just funny to think that one specific decision could have changed my entire life path by now.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Because that was my first Technic set as well, so...
Mm-hmm.
As well as first of the Construction line, really. Because that was really the first that they did.
Yeah, it's
like
considered
my grandma
the first.
pointed out to me at one point, oh, look at these new things they have. They're called Throwbots. Or, for those other Brits in our audience, Slizers.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just found it interesting, and I still a part of me still regrets it at some points because I remember when I was little, I was so naive. I took the plush and I like hid it behind some other toys on the shelf, thinking, well, maybe it'll still be here next time I come. Nope, no, it was not. Oh,
Yeah.
Bablium, you naive little sucker.
You know, I'm going to take a guess here because that's your first construction and got you kind of into construction as a theme. But I'm going to take a guess, go out on a limb. Your first Bionicle set was Galimata?
Not even close. Taraga Vakama.
Wow, okay. You're one of the very few that I've talked to whose first set was either not Galimata or not blue.
My second set was Onua.
Fair enough.
And I think my first Tohunga was Onapu, if I recall.
Wow.
Hmm.
Huh. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, that's complete. Wow. No, none of them are blue, unless you consider like purple kind of like a red-blue mix. But I digress.
The thing about Onua is he was always my favorite ever since the Lego Mania magazines were a little different in the US than they were in Canada, apparently. But Bionicle was first teased here in Canada as a little tiny ad on an upcoming themes list in the back of the magazine. Like, we're talking the size of a pill bottle cap, this ad. And it was just a picture of Onua Mata and the word Bionicle. That was it. And that had me intrigued for so long. Like, what is that thing? And why do I want it so badly?
That is fascinating. Okay.
That's why Onua... I have a scan of that comic page still, actually. I should put it up somewhere after the stream.
That sounds fascinating.
I always thought from that, like, the render that they used was the same render that they have on the canister in the manual. And because of the lighting, I always thought that Onua was supposed to be silver.
That makes sense.
So I was honestly a little disappointed when I got the set. Oh, he's black. Okay.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense because he looks kind of gunmetal.
I also thought, like me in my naive childhood, that the sets would be as articulated as the renders advertised them to be.
Oh, I don't blame you for that one.
Like, obviously now looking back on it, like, it is very hard even these days to make parts of that detail with that much articulation. People on Shapeways have tried and they break like brittle. Oh, sorry.
There goes my streak. I made it 29 episodes. Oh well. Live audience.
What have I done?
Live audience, you get to hear this special what do you call it? Ah, darn, raw cut. Oh well. We'll do better. Okay, continue.
But anyways, the parts just like from Shapeways, they'll break. They're very brittle, even when you try to put that much articulation on such small parts. So I can see why, they didn't do it back then. Especially post 2007, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, we would not have had a single piece from that year survive were that to be the case.
Are you kidding me? My Alec did not survive at all. Every single lime piece is broken.
Oh gosh, yeah, I feel like either I got lucky, well, I mean, parts broke, of course, or I was just careful, because you do that once, and then you learn, oh no.
Never again.
Oh yeah, no, never happening again. Alright, so that's how you got in the Bionicle.
I still have my...
Oh, go ahead, continue.
No, I was just going to say, I still have my stars sets on display. I have not disassembled them at all since 2010.
Yeah, no. And the combination model requires you to disassemble all of them.
That is pretty ironic, come to think of it, yeah.
It's just sad. There's no way to build it and not go, oh, well, off the Bricklink I go. Amazing resource. That is simply one of, if you're a Bionicle fan, that needs to be one of your primary bookmarks. It is such a fantastic site, and the team that has worked on it have done an amazing job keeping all of those resources. So, how did you end up getting involved kind of in the grander community?
Remember how I think the way I eventually got involved with them was I was sending Auron emails back and forth on Busy Power back when it was still mainly just music and doing some work for them. And then I think at one point, he just brought me on because, you know, it was like late 2003, early 2004 when I registered. But I don't know. I just found Busy Power somehow, registered on the forum, and I've been there ever since, with few exceptions. I was banned for a brief period.
That's okay. I was too. Okay.
That was an interesting time having to suck up to Black 6 for that.
I feel like it's difficult to be on Busy Power and not somehow end up either banned, suspended, or proto-dropped. Especially when you're younger.
Yeah. This was like... I'm trying to remember when that was. I think it was around 2011 that I got banned, actually, and it was approximately 5 years before I got back in, thanks to Zonar's influence over Black 6.
Oh, goodness.
Because he just put in a good word for me. He's like, okay, yeah, sure, what the hell.
Yeah, thankfully, Black 6, he is a very lenient guy, and he's very nice to talk to. Like, I don't know if you've ever met him in person.
Oh, yeah, I met him at Brick Fair back in 2015. I was expecting, like, he's similar to Auron talking via text. He's very no-nonsense, and it gives him almost a standoffish appearance.
Yes.
But when you talk to him in person, it's like he's a completely different human being.
He's so
I was quite frankly taken aback when I met him at Brick Fair, because I was expecting this grumpy old football player, and nothing of the sort.
Yeah, he's so friendly. He's very, very easy to talk to. He's a riot. Like, when he's a funny guy. And he's great when you actually start talking to him, and it's like, oh, wow, you're like really intimidating on Busy Power, but here you're just so friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's great. But it's okay. That's how you kind of got into things, and then you got into biomedia, and that, fast forwarding like a lot, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. Tell us
the main course.
Tell us the tale of the Legend of Mata Nui.
Well, where should I start? The beta or the alpha?
Let's start with the beta, because I'm like, I don't know if a lot of people know exactly. Sorry, alpha. I'm stupid. Because that's really where this kind of started coming back. Because this game, it was basically unseen for at least about 7 years, from 2001 to 2007. No, 2010. So about 10 years. And then it was still hidden for another 7 years until you guys got a hold of it. So let's go ahead and start there.
Well, not exactly. It was in about, I think it was either 2010 or 2012, I forget which, that ThiccBricc surfaced. And he posted those videos of the copy we just released today. And that was all we had ever seen of the game prior to that point. There were, screenshots floating around, and that was it. There had never been any footage of the game up until his videos. So I don't exactly remember the tone at the time, but that was just mind-blowing for me. Because, we didn't even know how this game would function until those videos came out. But as far as the acquisition of it, it's another one of those things that didn't have really as much fanfare as you would imagine it would, with the exception of the beta, of course. The alpha just sort of happened. I was just going about my business one day, and I go into the Biomedia Project Discord server where we sort of convene for staff meetings and whatever. And I find JMMB has just posted like something along the lines of begin top secret information. And then he links to this Imager thread that shows a screenshot of the installer and references an email he received the previous night. Well, fast forward, a few hours from some communication with this person, and it's just there. We got it. We still don't know exactly who this person was, and even if we did, we couldn't really say.
Of course.
But that the alpha just sort of dropped into our laps, and it's like, okay, we have this now. I guess I'll stream this tomorrow and tease a little bit of it now, because it was literally like we got the game, and then 24 hours later we pushed it out. That's just sort of happened like that.
Yeah.
And it was so sudden that, back when we first got that, it would not run on Windows 10. There was a problem with it that, it just wouldn't function at all. So here I am. I've just had my entire day turned on its head, and now I'm tearing apart my entire apartment, trying to get my Media Center PC with a Windows 7 dual boot over to my desk so I can actually record this stupid thing.
That's amazing.
And then we released it, and that's been that up until last month, where we finally got talking to Liam Robertson, formerly of Unseen64, now doing freelance stuff, but still with Did You Know Gaming. And we had established after the alpha released that, he would be interested in doing a history video on the game. Mm-hmm. So while we got that ball rolling, this was like at the beginning of the beginning of April, I think it was. Mm-hmm. We got that ball rolling, and he started contacting each of the developers on the credits list from ThiccBricc videos individually, because he has enough connections on his LinkedIn profile that he doesn't need LinkedIn Premium to contact people in the industry. Mm-hmm. Because if you have common connections with a bunch of different people, LinkedIn will allow you to message common contacts or shared friends.
Ooh.
And because of his previous connections in the industry, he's just able to do that as he wishes. Mm-hmm. So he got a hold of a bunch of different developers. And eventually, I can't say who, we got talking to one in particular who was really forthcoming about the game's history and its contents. And eventually, he managed to track down a disc that he had been sent. And that is a story in and of itself, which I'll get to after. But suffice to say, the disc that he had managed to dig up, contained the final build known to exist, what we generally know as the beta. It was burned on October 23rd, 2001, more than 10 days after the game's cancellation. And as is detailed in Liam's Game History Secrets video that he just uploaded this afternoon, is one of many copies that were distributed to the former team of the game on its cancellation when the offices were shut down. Mm-hmm. So we got this probably a week and a half before the end of April, and Liam had one request when he got a hold of the copy, and that was that he would be allowed to announce it or launch it in his Game History Secrets video. And I thought that, considering that he was instrumental in acquiring this for us, that this was a reasonable request.
Oh, yeah.
So we used that time to work on bug fixes and such, and we just created a secret channel in the Discord server, which will soon be going into the legacy channels for everyone to look through if they so choose. And during that time, after a little while, I got really bored, honestly, of keeping it completely secret. Uh-huh. So I proposed the creation of the greatest night of all time, the thickest of nights. And so ThiccBricc was born.
Okay, now I remember when this started happening because it threw everyone for a loop.
I had never intended for ThiccBricc to post more than that one first video with the birds. However, how did this go down? I believe it was I posted a video, the video, with the title of that day's date. And it just so happened, such a weird coincidence, the next day, J.O. Cool, he works on the Bionicle Massive Power team.
Yeah.
He posted a video with the same title format following day that seemed to be Bionicle related and had a hex message in the description that said something along the lines of, "You've had long enough." Well, since this was linked in the Beaverhouse Discord, I legitimately thought, and he vehemently denies this, I legitimately thought that he was calling Thick out. So that's why Thick ended up responding to him and ultimately started posting more. And this is also how Thick got started posting in Hex.
Oh my goodness. So it's completely by happenstance.
It just sort of snowballed into its own new thing. And I honestly thought we would be launching on the 1st. So, I figured, I can try and keep this rolling for another week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns out I was a bloody idiot, and I misjudged when the video was going to come out, Liam's video. Turns out it wasn't going to launch on the 1st. He was just going to get home from his trip out of state or province or whatever it is in the UK. I actually completely forget. Whatever. He's actually only getting home to work on it on the 1st. So here I am on, what would it be, the 30th, thinking, what the hell am I going to give these people tomorrow?
Oh my goodness.
So after Frog decoded, sorry, with my phone going off.
You're fine. I'm only going to have to confiscate that. Sorry.
But anyways, after he decoded, a lot of the staff was in on the whole thing. Most of the Beaverhouse staff and the modders on the team were in on the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Ibby created a new cipher for people to decode. It was a modified Caesar cipher, which basically it was reversed and then had every letter transposed incrementally 1 digit higher than the next up to a maximum of 6.
What in the world?
It linked to a video that basically confirmed what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And when Frog eventually decoded it, we conscribed him into the group as well. So when the 30th rolled around, we were asking him for his opinion on what the hell we should do as well, because he was one of the main forces in, researching Thick's shenanigans. He made that whole 19-page Google doc about all this.
That.
I felt kind of bad for him for a while, but then, like Hexadecimal Mantis pointed out, I eventually realized that the memes were more important.
Of course. Of course.
So we asked him, what can we give these people on the 1st? Since we didn't they are on the one hand expecting something of significance, but we didn't explicitly say release. Mm-hmm. So he ultimately came up with that video where he's, cutting up the disc. And he made that. Oh, my apologies. He literally just messaged me and said, it's pronounced frog. Okay.
Oh, whoops.
My bad. There is a U in it, and it throws me off. God.
Perfectly reasonable. Wow.
Anyways,
okay.
It was after, that video was released that we kind of held back on giving exact dates until I knew for certain that, yes, today is when it's happening. Yes, there are no further delays.
Yeah.
And we didn't even get that until last night. It wasn't until last night when I finally revealed, hey, guess who? That, yes, we're still on schedule and everything is go.
Wow. Goodness, so that all kind of just somehow managed to work its way into this almost oh goodness, what do they call it? It's not an RSG, it's
ARG.
Thank you. There we go, an ARG in a sense.
Yeah.
That
At
is
one
amazing.
point, I even had one thing that I'm really disappointed nobody noticed for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
In the days leading up to today, I had the word beta slowly spelling itself out in the launcher patch notes page, because the patch notes in the launcher are just a remote HTML page hosted on the BMP server.
Mm-hmm.
So I can edit that at my discretion and have it auto push to everyone who has a copy of the launcher.
Mm-hmm.
So each day leading up to today, I would add a letter B, E, T, A. And it was only noticed last night.
I remember seeing somebody pointing that out. They said, "Hey, look, it says beta now."
Yeah, it was only yesterday that they noticed that, and I'm actually really cheesed about that because I really wanted that to be, this contested part of the ARG. Like, I didn't edit this page. I don't know what happened. I don't have access to that.
Oh my goodness.
Did our servers get hacked by Thick? Or maybe it's Jimmy doing us a rustle.
Yeah, okay, that's another thing. Because while you had ThiccBricc being a thing and everybody's kind of flipping their lids trying to figure out what's going on, there was another account, and then there were some copycats that kind of entered the fray. What was that all about?
Well, when ThiccBricc got too close to reveal it, like sometimes I would slip up and I would say too much. Mm-hmm. So Omega 12, one of our staff members, picked up his old troll account from 2013 that he never used and repurposed it as sort of a comedic relief counterpart to Thick, so that whatever he posts would sort of put into doubt the things that Thick would post, but at the same time he would also post things that would make people wonder, like the Matoran pictures or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And as for the copycat accounts, well, your guess is as good as mine on those. I don't know. I still don't know who Thin Mints is.
Fair enough. Goodness gracious, that's bizarre. The whole thing is bizarre. That is incredible.
Yeah. I'm getting back to the whole the whole Sapphire dev with the disc thing.
Yes.
That is, I mentioned earlier, that was a story in and of itself. Well, midway through our process, a person named MCDude451 appeared on our Discord server claiming to have the beta. Nobody at this point knew that we already had it, of course. Mm-hmm. But this person was apparently infamous for going on to other forums like Rock Raiders United and such, and making these claims without giving any proof.
Yeah.
So, in the guise of, wanting proof but not knowing too much, we would, ask him such things like, show me this file. Or at one point, Jimmy posted on the Twitter, give me the MD5 hash for liwa.blk. Well, lo and bloody behold, he provided. And one does not simply guess the MD5 hash of a random file from a 17-year-old unreleased game. Turns out that we both had the same copy. He had his copy as early as October of 2017, and he had been in contact with another Sapphire dev who sent him the physical disc that they were given when their offices closed. And that's a piece of history in and of itself. But it turns out the person we got our copy from got his copy from MC Dude. Because MC Dude got talking to the same developer we were, and that developer wanted to see that build just to tinker with it a bit. So MC Dude sent him the disc image, and as we are now, he in turn sent that disc image back to us.
Oh my goodness.
So in a way, the build we have came from MC Dude, which came from a completely different person, and this person who was, quite frankly, really weird about not providing proof about it before, and nobody believed him. But God he was legit. He was legit. And for any of you who may have seen this person on the forums and, called him out, you may owe him a bit of an apology.
Yeah, he came through. He followed through. That is amazing.
Just a bit.
Like, you told me this.
So eventually, he started posting on the Discord server, and we all started freaking out because, like, oh no, he's going to spill the beans early.
Yeah.
So I got talking to him, and I eventually said, dude, I'm going to be level with you. We have this too, and we've been keeping it secret for a little while now. If you agree to be quiet, I'll give you early access to the latest patches. And that's exactly how it's been. I even got him to post a message in the Discord afterwards as ThiccBricc just to throw the boys off.
Oh my goodness. And you told me this very briefly before the show started, and like that's mind-blowing in and of itself, but you made a really excellent point in regards to the alpha and how that kind of ties in.
I did. I'm trying to. My memory's. Oh god.
It was regarding.
I told you I'm not good at censoring myself.
It's okay. It's all right. You made a point regarding, how if that had come out, you said he had it in October of 2017, but if that had come out, we may have never gotten the alpha.
Yeah, because the alpha came from a completely unrelated source, under the pretense that this is completely new. This is something nobody has. If we had gotten the version that we have now, we would have never known the different things about the alpha, and it would have taken so much longer to fix, because previous work on the alpha has given us a lot of insight into the game's file formats. As such, most of the fixes that we made for the alpha, including Windows 10, widescreen, etc., those were all ported in the first night.
Goodness.
Everything else was just built up over time. But, you've probably seen the patch list for Alpha, the 007 patch list for the Alpha. All that was within the first couple days. That was just in there. Whatever wasn't fixed by the game itself was ported.
That's
Easy.
Impressive. That's incredible.
It's really interesting to look at the two versions individually, because so much content was cut from the alpha to the beta, probably in part due to the Maori incident. Like the Takara is gone, any mention of the Pohunga is gone. A lot of the in-engine cutscenes and dialogue are heavily abridged to the point where, for instance, when you talk to Whenua in the alpha, he gives you a rundown of the legend and Mata Nui and various lore and things going on the island. In the beta, all that's been cut back to basically just, thank you for saving our village, Great Onua. Now you must go seek out the other Toa.
Wow. That's a lot of cutting.
Our ultimate goal here is to create a merged build that includes the best parts of both, which would basically just, manifest as a mod of the beta that includes the conversations and cutscenes of the alpha. But that's a little, for the time being, that's not, like, we may be able, I wouldn't want to give a time frame for that just yet, just because JMMB hasn't finished with the OSI decompiler yet, but it is in the cards. And I also had plans for, I don't know if you're familiar with the Insomniac Museum.
Not at all.
In Ratchet & Clank games. For those who aren't aware, in various Ratchet & Clank games, there is a completion bonus end level, where if you 100% the game, you go into this level, it's usually the Insomniac Moon, and the Insomniac Museum consists of just sort of like a test level that contains various pieces of cut content and developer diaries, like unused enemies, unused levels, weapons, etc. So my thoughts, since there were a lot of areas changed entirely between the alpha and the beta, since there is currently not a Makuta fight, or at least We think we might be able to program one at some point, but until then, as far as Endgame is concerned, I had the idea of converting either one of the old Makuta levels or a modification of the front-end hub area into a similar thing, where you'd have a series of portals and you'd be able to go to various different areas from the alpha that were cut from the beta. I have already actually tested this. I managed to port the alpha version of Gakoro into the game with relative ease, and I'm sure you've all seen my work on Green Hill Zone by now.
If you have that uploaded anywhere.
Ported into the beta pretty easily, too. We actually got water and Skybox working there now. Yay.
Unbelievable. If you have that uploaded anywhere, I'll link that in the description, because it's just...
Oh, yeah. That should go public on our YouTube at some point. I completely forgot to do that when I made the trailer live. Whoops.
Sweet.
I will do that now while I'm thinking of it, because it's right in front of me.
Perfect. This is a hot take, everyone. You're getting to see... Well, no, that's an improper use of hot take, which is a hilarious phrase. Get to see the launch of now more content. So there you go.
Yeah, really. I've just got two videos here. One's just a weird bug that happens with a lot of Rahi. In the beta, Rahi come out of like little hives that will infinitely spawn them until you destroy them. If you destroy the hive before you destroy any Rahi that come out of it, they're programmed to run away from you. Problem is, sometimes they won't so much run as they will spin around in circles away from you. And if they encounter a wall, they'll just run up against the wall and spin. And the closer you get to them, the faster they spin.
What in the world?
It's super weird.
No kidding.
This game may be more stable than the alpha, but don't take that to mean it's finished. This game is still quite unfinished and quite unstable.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you were showing me a little bit about the game, before the ThiccBricc reveal, and it's really fascinating to see the strange dichotomy that the alpha and the beta have, because you were also talking about, kind of in one of the more public chats, that the game was really made in a short period of time. Like, it's quite incredible, honestly, in retrospect, how this game is not only mostly functional, but, playable in this state in, 6 months?
It's a little more than that. It's relatively speaking, for most games, it was a relatively short development time. I believe, I can't really remember. I can't get an exact figure on this. I know it was Liam who told me at one point, but I don't think it was really detailed in the video all that much. But I believe he said development started in September of 2000. And it went until October 10th of 2001. So it was a little over a year.
Okay.
But that's still relatively short for most games.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Not for the time. It's hard to say.
Yeah. Still, it's quite... To me, it's impressive that... And it was canceled. Let's go ahead and actually get into the story behind the people who were working on the game. Because that is, honestly, legitimately... It could be like a crime novel, and I could.
Oh,
see
you're talking about. I was gonna say, if you're looking for the story about the development history of the game, I would lead you to Liam Robertson's Game History Secrets video on that. But you're getting into the Rushtons now.
Yes. All right. So I will also have a link to that in the description. So for anyone listening, highly, highly, highly recommend the video made by Liam Robertson. It is a phenomenal video, and just remember, on my behalf, cut him a little bit of slack. I know he doesn't pronounce it the correct way, but you know what? We're going to forgive him because he has done us an amazing service, and we can't thank him enough. So go check the video out, be in the description below. But yes, let's talk about something he did not touch upon, which is honestly one of the most fascinating aspects of this entire story. So please, give it to us.
Well, I didn't have anything really prepared to go into this in great detail, but I'll give the gist of it. Basically, the Sapphire was a family-run business for the most part. It was run and operated by Hal Rushton and his brother Dave Rushton, and most of the other family members were somehow employed by the company, you can usually see a lot of them in the credits list of Legend of Mata Nui, for instance, as the testers. There are some Rushtons in that group. They would often outsource some of their content to their own family to test. Well, the Rushtons were a colorful sort. Because, you see, they didn't like to spend money. And by that, I mean they didn't like to pay their employees at all. And it got to the point where they would actually have to, after Legend of Mata Nui's cancellation, some of the developers actually had to sue them over back pay.
Goodness.
And that bit is detailed in Liam's video a little bit. But this is not even the worst thing the Russians have done. Because when Sapphire went under, HAL was not simply content to, pay back taxes and pay back wages or go bankrupt. I'm not sure if it's still possible these days, but back then there were loopholes in the law for bankruptcy that stated if you, say, took your company, gave it to somebody else, and changed the name, you would not have to follow those rules. So when Sapphire went under, he handed the company off to his brother Dave and renamed it to Sensory Sweep Studios. And there's a little more information regarding that, because the things Hal Rushton did were pretty bad. Dave took it to a whole other level, to the point where he actually went to prison twice over failing to pay back taxes and back pay again.
Gosh darn.
And Sensory Sweep was only one of 2 other times where they went under, renamed the studio, and tried again. And there are stories of people who are working on their games. They come into the office in the morning, and then suddenly there are people there taking logos down off the walls, replacing them, and then handing out new contracts like it was a lunch order. And there's another particularly weird story where during the development of the Dirty Harry video game, back when Sensory Sweep was still around, the information regarding the game got leaked out because Dave told his mother about the game and how big this deal was going to be. His mother then told Hal, his brother, and his brother was then running a different studio. And don't quote me verbatim on all this, by the way, because I might be getting some details slightly off, but I am getting the gist of it.
There are a few people in the comments saying that the names are a little switched, but...
Okay.
But
anyways, Hal then got that information from his mother, and he decided, well, I'm going to contact Warner Brothers under the guise of being press and say, like, hey, we heard about this secret game you've got in development. Such and such told us about it.
Oh, no.
So that got him in trouble for one. And then he called back as himself under his own studio and tried to undermine his brother by saying, well, we can do it for a cheaper price and better.
Oh, gosh.
So it became sort of a family feud in and of itself. And boy, howdy, did this make Dave mad, because there are stories. At the time, he had some kind of issue with his intestines or whatever. So he had to have, like, this series of tubes coming out of him.
Oh, my goodness.
So he comes into the office ranting and raving at random employees, accusing them of leaking the info to Warner Brothers that the info got leaked out, waving these medical tubes in their faces. It was so weird. Like, I've never heard a story like this from a game studio before.
That's so bizarre.
They are, as I said, the Rushtons are a colorful sort. I'll say that much. Liam really wants to do a documentary on these people at some point, just because there is so much ridiculous history behind them. The only thing missing from the story of the Rushtons is somebody getting whacked by the mafia.
No kidding. It's like somebody goes, I need you to take on my brother. Okay.
It was up to a point before we knew all this that we sort of idolized Sapphire and we felt bad for them after the game was canceled and everything. And, we wanted to do them right. We wanted to do what Sapphire would do. Don't do what Sapphire did. Don't ever try to do what Sapphire did. Sapphire were scumbags. The developers were fine. Like, everyone we talked to on the Legend of Mata Nui team were great people. But the heads of Sapphire, they were and still are the scum of the earth.
Goodness gracious. That's just, it's amazing. There were some other details that I found really fascinating that are detailed in Liam's video. How this all kind of tied in to the cancellation of the game and how all this kind of stemmed in a way from BIONICLE.
Because this game's cancellation this game was not necessarily the final nail in the coffin for Sapphire, but it was more or less the beginning of the end.
Yeah, it might as well have been a stake.
Because the loss of the Lego contract cost them a lot of money.
Yeah.
Money that they never really had to begin with.
Mm-hmm. My goodness. It's fascinating. And the fact that after all this time, this has come to light is just, it goes to show you, the truth always comes out. And sometimes, reality is stranger than fiction. It's just incredible.
Oh, yeah. There are things, too, like a lot of the old standing rumors about the game. For instance, the 8 beta discs rumor. That's nothing. That's japes. That's total japes.
Mm-hmm.
That never happened. That never existed. The beta test never happened.
Yeah.
I begrudged even calling this a beta after learning that information, because it really isn't. By definition, a beta is content complete, and this is not.
Mm-hmm.
It's more complete than the alpha we had, but if it were me, I would be calling it late alpha at best. But apparently, internally, it was indeed referred to as a beta, and I figured for brand recognition, it would probably be better if we just went along with it.
Yeah, I feel like that is an easy and straightforward way to differentiate between the two. So that's perfectly reasonable.
At one point, I was looking into calling it just the final build, because that's basically what it is. But again, brand recognition, people are going to be asking, is this the beta? Where's the beta?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's kind of a buzzword we've been hearing for the last 17 years.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. It's just incredible. Well, in that case, is there anything else that you'd like to touch upon before we get into some questions?
Well, I was going to go through the ThiccBricc memes, because we did post, there was a lot of stuff posted as ThiccBricc.
Mm-hmm.
So just let me get my folder open here.
While you do that, actually, briefly explain, there was a brief explanation you wanted to give out pertaining to a bug that may have gotten its way into the installer. If you could quickly... Yes.
Yes. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm a blithering moron. In my rush to update the launcher to accommodate the beta, I didn't account for a few things in the code. And as it would turn out, the version that I pushed when we launched not only did not work right for updating the beta, but it also broke the auto-update code for the launcher itself. So when I pushed the fix, nobody got it automatically. So if you downloaded the launcher at, what would it have been, about 3 p.m. today? If you downloaded a launcher update from the launcher itself at about 3 p.m. today and still can't play the game properly, chances are you have that royally borked version that I had made. So you'll want to re-download the newest version manually from the Legend No Longer link.
Okay.
Just a heads up before we get floods and floods of comments in the bug reporting channel.
Yeah, no, that's kind of important information to have.
Yeah.
Okay. I love this comment from Hexadecimal Mantis. Hashtag legend no,
I
legend
swear
no
to God! No! You get that out of here! He has been throwing that meme in my face for months now.
Hashtag legend no launcher. That's amazing.
Serenity now!
All right, so we got that there. We got that out of the way. So the gist of it, just remember, if you need to go and get a manual update of the launcher from, I believe it's Biomedia Project.
Yeah.
Okay, to make sure that it auto updates.
bit.ly/legend no longer.
All right, I'll have that in the description as well, and this is obviously something you guys are going to want to check out. So let's go ahead and go over some of the best of the best of the best, best of the best ThiccBricc memes, and then we'll go ahead and get into questions.
Well, the one that I was looking at here mainly is, I don't know how best to describe this. The Gray Matoran video with the screaming.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is also one I'll link below. It's hilarious. The edit, I don't know how you
There's a story behind that one, and by the way, I'm quite proud of that because I did a lot of keyframing for that. But anyways, the gist of that one is, at the moment the frog posted the comment that asks, like, I wonder if the Matoran are gray because of texture issues. We were at that exact moment working on that issue, and no. If only it was a texture issue. No. We were literally screaming when he posted that. So I just thought, you know what? Let's make a meme out of it. So it turned out the problem was actually a lighting issue, because in the first two levels, the game had a partially implemented spotlight system that was malfunctioning. And as a result, the textures were completely blown out, but the bump maps were unaffected. So that's why they still had features.
Mm-hmm.
But the textures were there. It's just it was so overexposed that they just didn't show up, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, part of the reason why Jimmy was later hinting in tweets like, why can't I edit the light SLB? Does anyone know the light SLB? I think at one point he actually posted a light SLB.
That makes sense.
And then there was a more recent one where we have, I'm going to refer to this one as the Creed video. I don't know if you saw that one.
Let me see. Which one? Describe it for me.
Flying Conira.
Yes, okay. Yes, I did see that. So what's the story behind this?
It's a fairly simple one. Basically, it was that day that Shadow Knight and I were working on figuring out what works, how the AI for Rahi works, and he just started tinkering with the files.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as it turns out, we first found out how to make them docile, which actually isn't a thing in the beta. They just sort of dematerialize, but I digress. Mm-hmm. We found out that, at least we believe, all the AIinfo.slb files they use like 1 byte indicators to reference predetermined functions in the OSI for different types of Rahi.
My goodness.
So changing 1 byte at the beginning of that file turned the Muwaka into something completely different, and it varied from time to time in how we did it. Shadow Knight mentioned that he got it to fly and shoot fireballs at him. When I did it, and this is the video that posted on the Thick's channel eventually, it just turned him into a bloody cruise missile.
Yeah, I can see that now.
It can see you from across the map. It charges you, but it will charge you in a way that gravity does not follow it. It will just fly at you at Mach speed. And mind you, that video was slowed down a lot. And it's still going pretty fast there.
Seriously, you're not exaggerating by calling it a cruise missile.
And it's even weirder too, because like when it sort of orbits around Pohatu, that's not something we did either. That's just a bug in this version. Apparently none of the Rahi in Pohatu's level have collision. So when it charges you, it's normally supposed to knock you real far back. But because it doesn't have a proper hitbox, it just sort of latches onto you and then turns into a fractal.
Yeah, it's like it's Spider-Man and the symbiote, and he's just being consumed.
There's a Terrakava in Lewa's level that does the same thing, and it's because it has the same AI type as this Kanira. We're still working that crap out, but I just thought it was funny, to combine the two together into a weird video. It's just, it flies at you from across the map and then just turns into a fractal.
That's incredible. Also, you tell me Lewa's level isn't done yet?
I mean, it's done in the sense that it can be finished,
okay,
but there's a lot to it that's still very clearly not done, if that makes any sense. There's a slide area in the alpha that ends in a glyph. That area is still in this build, but because this version removes all but one of the glyphs that the alpha had, you end up just getting a second hurricane glyph.
I mean, hey, sometimes you gotta have 2 hurricane glyphs, You can never have enough. But that doesn't immediately mean
that area was clearly like in the process of being reordered, repurposed, or just removed in general, because obviously that wasn't meant to be there anymore. It's a similar case in other levels. Like areas in the alpha are very different from areas in the beta. For instance, the Nui Jaga cave. It was a single cave at the end of one of the cliff areas, and it had a network of dark caves behind it that you would be able to go into.
Yeah.
In this build, the Nui Jaga cave is in a completely different place, and the cave network is a separate level. And this theme carries throughout the game, where various areas have been either cut off, split up, and reordered. And certain doors that used to be in other areas were just sealed off. And it's actually kind of obvious, too, because they literally just stretched the vertices down to close the wall. But if you get close enough, you can still see the seams of where there used to be a door.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's so bizarre.
There's another reason, too. Like, if we never had the alpha, we probably never would have noticed these things.
Yeah, no, we would have taken them at face value.
Yeah.
No, that's incredible. I do very briefly want to mention that if Lewa does get 2 hurricane glyphs in this version of the game, and none of the other Toa get duplicates, that immediately means Lewa is the strongest Toa, and it's just clear evidence that he's the best.
Yeah, that's totally not anything biased.
No, not at all. It's as you could say, objective, an objective fact you can observe.
Oh. I would never doubt you.
Of course. Listen, man. I am legal. But anyway. But it's incredible. It's simply a fascinating chain of events and how this is all kind of coalesced. But,
yeah, you can say that.
Yeah. So, let me see. Are there any other thick tweets that you want to go over briefly before we get into questions?
Go through my images here. Well, there's the Nicolas Cage one. There's that.
That was scary.
I don't think there was even really a story behind that one. It's just Jamester was just messing with the textures, and he just sent me Onua with a Nicolas Cage face, and it's like, screw it, put it in there. And there was the one that's ThiccBricc's current header image with the Tohunga in the background, the giant Tohunga in Onua's beach.
Yeah.
And it's just a Planet of the Apes reference. Because at the time, people were going over the old models that were in the alpha, and they were just like something along the lines of that model will never work in game. They can't do that. So here I just decided, well, we can't get rigged models to work. We can't make an actual Matoran use the old Tohunga model to throw them off. So what can we do? We can import still models in. Screw it. Planet of the Apes reference, or End of Evangelion, as some people manage to discern from it.
That is amazing.
And then, of course, there were the hints at bad cheat, which has now been revealed.
Yes.
So this is a thing we found relatively early on. I think it was Hexadecimal Mantis that initially found the data for it. But basically, if you put in a certain cheat in the bionicle.ini, various things will happen with 3 of the Toa if you press the P key. Pohatu will take a leak, Onua will flip the bird, and Tahu will do a flame fart through his sword. These are things that are in the game. And we knew nobody would ever expect that. And we used that to our advantage. So over the course of a week or two, some of our staff members would subtly reference these things by, like, I believe there was one image that Omega made of, it was just a mock of Pohatu taking a leak, or something along the, somebody did a crude drawing of Tahu farting, and it was just, you know, like, hey, we're memeing, look at us, hee hee hee. And we played it off when I would post the actual images of the cheat as ThiccBricc importing new animations into the game to make people think we're just working on an alpha mod. Don't mind us. This is a new thing you can do. Look at how miles ahead of our dev team he is.
That's clever. That's amazing. That's just simply it's funny.
There are various other things we did along those lines, too. Like, there was one image that Jimmy posted of a very blue lit and then a very orange Anapu. And that was literally just us messing around with the lighting to try and get it fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And the various different effects that Omega achieved by screwing it up royally. Mm-hmm. And my philosophy with ThiccBricc was, there are no mistakes, just more happy little red herrings.
Wow. That's fantastic. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was an interesting experience playing that character.
Yeah, and it, according to you, completely unintentional on the offset, which is it makes it funnier in a way. All right.
I'm ready to get into questions if you want.
Absolutely. And for anyone curious, I'll link the ThiccBricc Twitter in the description below. So in the meantime, we actually do have some email questions, which I greatly appreciate. I always love getting email questions because it helps me kind of keep them all in one place where I know where they are. Because on Twitter over the week, they kind of just get nixed away.
Yeah, so, I can imagine.
All right. First one is from Chip Wiseman. And they ask, how does it feel to be one of the main contributors to the uncovering of a 17-year-old relic?
Well, I don't know how to answer these kind of questions. Like, I legitimately don't feel incredibly important. I just think of myself as more of a cog in the machine, and the whole team is responsible at this point. Because, like, as far as making and releasing patches go, I don't do a whole, like, I will contribute when I can and know what I'm doing, but the vast majority of the things being done are by the rest of the team. I'm just coordinating everything.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, you know, I'm basically just the mouthpiece.
Okay.
I help, surely, but I don't know. It does feel good. I just like to try and be a little humble about it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Being humble is always a good thing. All right. Next question is from Sam, and I do apologize, but I do not want to risk messing up the pronunciation of that last name, so you're going to have to take my apology on that one. I owe you a pronunciation. But Sam asks, I think that it's amazing that Legend of Mata Nui has been found. What was it like being able to say that the game has been found at last?
Well, today for the beta, it was a little stressful because almost immediately after I launched it, I found out about the launcher issue, and I was like, oh god, I have to deal with this right now because there's only an hour until I have to get on your show. And people are going to be sending in questions like, why are you doing this and not fixing the game? So that was a little stressful, but when we initially launched the alpha, it felt pretty good. Like doing that live stream, I felt like that stream was very poorly received because of how overexcited we were.
Yeah.
And like I did, ultimately, when I posted the unedited footage and people kept posting in like, hey, this is the worst stream I've ever seen, I just really stopped caring. It was like, okay, nobody's forcing you to watch this stream when all the unedited footage is already out there, so you can kindly take it and shove it where the sun don't shine. And I sort of referenced that in not so many words in the following stream, where I had compiled this remix of the Mask of Light theme.
I remember. I was there for that.
And I told everyone, like, I sincerely apologize for how immature we were in the last stream. And to show my remorse for my previous transgressions, I'd like you to hear this little remix that I've composed, and I hope you all enjoy it. It was a remix of the Mask of Light theme made in a sound font that, of my creation, I put time into this. Entirely comprised of farts. I really should upload that somewhere, but for the time being, it's just been sitting on my PC ever since that stream. But that was basically the extent of my, shove it to the people who were still complaining, like, hey, you suck at this.
Yeah, no, I remember there was a lot of backlash, but I'm sure that a lot of that came from people not being accustomed to the kind of content you guys do and how it is.
As Fishbill put it, people weren't expecting our usual, for lack of a safer term, mask post on wheels streams.
Nice.
And that's just sort of what happened. I think people were more expecting like a more professional kind of press release kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they sure didn't get that.
No. Ah, well.
In retrospect, I can see how people would have thought, oh god, we're off to a bad start. When the first sound after the introduction was loud screeching. Autistic screeching, if you will.
I can understand. I can certainly understand. But now it all worked out. Things are here now, and actually this is a really great time to ask, are you guys going to be doing another stream going over the beta?
Yes, actually. The only reason we weren't doing that today is because I figured after we're done here, it's going to be too late for us to do a stream of this in its entirety. So to give us more time for it and, not split it up into multiple parts and whatever, we will be doing that tomorrow around the same time, probably 4-ish, give or take, EST.
Okay, excellent. And wherever that is, which we will get to as we start wrapping up here, I'll link that in the description as well.
All right.
All right, in that case, we've got another question. This one comes from August, and the month asks, what's your favorite condiment?
God, frog. I made that, okay. You saw my posts. Like saying, hey, I'm going to be on Eljay's show later. You can ask me, like, what is the beta? If you have any questions about the beta, my time is ThiccBricc, or even my favorite condiment. Why would you just go with that?
Well, now
I like honey mustard, okay? God!
That's a good choice. That's a good answer. I like that. Because I like both honey and honey mustard is delicious.
Yes. It's actually funny because my grandparents always eat at a burger joint here called Harvey's. It's like Subway, but for burgers. So you basically make your own burger. And they'll occasionally get hot dogs there. She does not like their honey mustard at all. Mm-hmm. So when she goes to Harvey's to get hot dogs, she will just bring her own, the Billy B honey mustard in a little bag and put it on the hot dogs while she's there.
Oh my goodness. I mean, hey, that works. That's a great solution.
I mean, yeah, it works.
All right. Now we do have our final email question. This comes from Orakumi, I believe is how that's pronounced.
Yeah, that sounds right.
All right. The two questions are as follow. First, we are obviously into Lego, video games, anime, etc. What are some of your more obscure interests? Examples being rock collecting, bottle caps, or even costume making.
Huh, that is a rather tough one. I'm basically just looking around my room now for possible examples. Yeah. I'm not sure if I really have anything incredibly obscure. The most I can think of is I have a small Nerf arsenal mounted on my wall.
You too?
Yeah.
Nice!
I only have one gun that's not mounted, and that's the Big Shock, because that gun is beautiful. It's like this little handheld pistol, and it has a slot for a round and a second round in the top. But here's the thing. It's handheld. It fires mega darts. And these things are like, if you're not familiar, mega darts are basically double the size of Nerf darts, and they have regular Nerf darts, and they have little slots in the side that make them whistle when they fly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite interesting, actually.
Oh my!
I love that thing.
I'm gonna go.
I have it right here. It's great. I think if you can sort of hear it whistling, if I just fire it here, sort of.
Oh yeah, you can hear it very, very slightly.
And that loud pop, of course, was the sound of it whacking my ceiling.
That's fantastic.
That one does pack a punch.
Yeah, no kidding. Like the mega darts are nothing to mess with. Nerf is awesome, and since the question was, I slightly missed this, is for both of us. I'm gonna go with that as well. I'm big fan of Nerf. I'm more of a sword guy though.
All right.
All right, and the other question is, I know LJ and myself will be at BRICC Fair at Virginia. Awesome. But do you have any plans to go too, Liam? What about some 20th anniversary plans for BIONICLE at BRICC Fair 2021? I'd love to help out with those if possible. I hope you have a great day.
I hadn't thought anything about the 20th anniversary, but that is a possibility to put into motion. As for plans to go to BRICC Fair this year, well, I do possibly plan to go, and I may or may not have some plans regarding the game. I can't go into detail yet, so stay tuned.
All right. Fair enough.
That's all I can say.
Sounds good to me. I mean, we got to get you over there, man. You got a gold Vahi. I have a gold Miru. They're both expertly crafted. That'd make a cool picture.
We'll definitely figure something out.
Here's hoping. Awesome. Well, in that case, those are all of our email questions. I'd like to thank everyone who sent one in. I really do appreciate it when people do send in emails. We're going to start wrapping up here in just a moment, so I'm going to open up the board to the YouTube comments section. And for anyone listening to the recorded version of this that will be up on YouTube hopefully within the next few days, I'd like to unfortunately apologize that the live chat won't be kept because this will need to be brought down, edited, and then re-uploaded, so it will not have that.
Oh, well, now I feel really bad.
No. It's listen.
It's all my fault. What have I done?
If you want someone to blame YouTube for not being as good as Vessel and allowing me to upload edited versions of the video to the same slot.
Yeah, that's true.
So we'll go ahead and do them the service of mentioning whoever's name has a question.
You could record a video of the live chat and overlay it over the VOD.
That is actually true. The only problem does it? Oh yeah, toggle timestamps. Yeah, I could totally do that. Never mind. Okay. I'll try my hardest to incorporate that.
All right.
But we'll go ahead and give that about a minute or two for any questions to come on in. And
okay.
And we'll go ahead and do that. I still haven't really played the game yet. I just noticed that Liwa, in the beta, he has this animation where he kind of jumps, and then as he lands, he kind of does this monkey almost jaunt.
Yeah, all of the Toa have unique animations in this build. Like, they sort of did in the alpha, but they were only just like slight variations of the same standard biped animation.
Mm-hmm.
In this version, they're all entirely unique. Like, Gali has various acrobatics. Liwa moves around entirely like a monkey.
Mm-hmm.
I know Pohatu's moves are sort of soccer based, where he'll do like his strafe jump is sort of like a goal dive, and he'll do like a roll when he hits the ground while moving.
Mm-hmm.
And Kopaka is particularly interesting. He skates everywhere like Shadow the Hedgehog.
Oh man, that's really fascinating. That's legitimately, it's a level of detail that I wouldn't have expected.
It definitely adds more personality than the alpha showed on the different Toa.
Yeah, because they were all just the basic standard animation.
Yeah.
So that's fair enough. Alright, in that case, we have two questions here. Let me see. The first one is from Josephina Vineyard. And
Hi, Josie!
The question is, how many bees go in the place, hat?
Well, Josie, you see, when a mommy hat and a daddy hat love each other real
The next question
bees...
from the Lime Joint podcast. They ask,
love you, Josie.
when are we streaming the Bionicle game, man? Hashtag the shill joint. Let's take over the Bionicle Let's Play scene.
Well, as I said earlier, we'll probably be streaming it tomorrow around 4 EST, so look forward to that.
Excellent. And
I can't do it any earlier than that, unfortunately, because I also have driving school tomorrow.
Fair
As
enough.
I was saying to LJ before we got on the air, I had to get up at 6 a.m. this morning. I was there until 2. I didn't get home until 3. And then I came home to Liam telling me, oh, hey, the video's about to go live. It's 3. You're an hour early, and I just got in the door. I haven't even uploaded the files yet. What? Ah!
Oh boy, yeah, no, you have had a busy day.
Yeah, just you could say that.
All right, well, let's go ahead. We'll do a little bit of a speed run of questions here, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up. First,
good to me.
Brick Keeper's Lab asks, when will that lazy guy in the team finish creating a Mac build?
What was his name again?
Brick Keeper's Lab?
Yeah, no. Well, I believe the answer to that, Professor Brick Keeper, I believe you know the answer to that, since you're the one doing it.
Ooh, called out. Oof. All right, next question.
I'm getting memed. I'm getting heckin' memed.
The next question is from Chip Wiseman, who asks, but Liam, where can I buy the Legend of Mata Nui shirts?
I don't think we can legally sell those. What we're doing right now, Frog's currently working on the box art, and I know he hasn't posted a bunch of that in the chat since he started it. That's because he's been updating it ever since we conscribed him into this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually an interesting story in itself, because for the disc art, we ultimately decided, hey, maybe we should use some of the renders that they have for the beta's glossary as part of the disc art to set it apart from other 2001 renders. Problem is, those renders are like 128 by 128. They are way too small to print onto an actual disc, or much of anything for that matter. So, that's how I got started doing the JoJo renders that I've been posting into the Discord and Mask posting. We took the high poly models that were reconstructed by one of our team members, and we started posing them into the original glossary renders to try and recreate them from scratch. And when I decided to start doing some of it myself, I was jokingly challenged by one of our other team members with an image of Joseph and Caesar doing an iconic pose. And I just thought, you know what? It sounds fun to give it a try. Let's see what happens. 10 renders later of various different poses, and I've only actually done Lewa of what I was starting off to actually do for the game. So you can imagine I've been having way too much fun doing these JoJo renders, and I haven't even finished the reason I started doing them in the first place.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, you know what they say.
All toasters toast?
All work and no play make Jack a very dull boy.
Okay.
We'll go with both are applicable. But the next question, Hexadecimal Mantis, which is, my goodness, that's a cool name when you can get it right. Since your name isn't Liam, what is your real name? You're getting doxxed, man.
I did go out and say that, didn't I? Because I was using that as leverage to dissuade people from thinking that I was thick for a while.
Ha!
All right. I'm man enough to admit it, even if not just because it's been public before.
Whoa.
My real name is Sean.
Whoa! That's right, folks. You've heard it here, live on the Eljay Johnsen Show. Liam is Sean. Well, great. Now I don't know what I'm going to do with my title. All right. In that case, we'll go ahead and make this the last question from Jokob Shepard. Can you fight that Tarakava in Lakoro and the one in Gakoro?
Yes. You can fight the ones... There are 3 in Gakoro that are relatively okay, AI-wise. They have some animation issues, but you can fight and defeat them. The one in Lakoro is different. It's much bigger, and it has a similar AI pattern to the Kanira, in the sense that it's not supposed to be killed. It's there to serve as a tutorial function. In its case, it's meant to serve as a trial by fire for the Mahiki. So when you go up out of its reach to get that, you come back, you activate it, and you keep it busy while you escape. You're not actually supposed to be able to kill it.
Okay, fair enough. That makes sense. Okay. All right, well, in that case, I think that's about everything. Liam, Sean, Vahkiti, one of the 3. Is there anything else you would like to impart upon everyone listening who is currently and may in the future?
Buy my JoJo shirts! Nobody bought them yet! Everyone was commenting and mask posting. Oh yeah, I'll definitely look into that. I posted them and nobody's bought a single thing.
All right, well, in that case, go ahead and send me a link to that. I'll put it in the description below as well. And on that note, where would you like people to follow you, Beaverhouse, BMP, anywhere on social media?
You can follow Biomedia Project on Facebook or Twitter. You can follow the Beaverhouse likewise on Facebook or Twitter. And you can also go to our YouTube channel, which is basically just youtube.com/Vahkiti. Or you can join our Discord server and chat amongst us at bit.ly/beavercord. And as usual, the game can be downloaded just as easily from bit.ly/legendnolonger.
All right. In that case, I'll go ahead and have as many of those in the description below. So go ahead and check all that out. And, yeah, have a good time. There's a lot of entertaining content there to be found, and I highly encourage checking it all out.
Bring the bucket!
Well, Vahkiti, thanks so much for taking the time to be here, and thank you and the team that has worked so hard on this for so long. This is a fairly momentous occasion for the BIONICLE community.
The
very
pleasure is all mine.
I'll have to have you on again to discuss even more, because I feel like we haven't even touched the surface on like BMP, Beaverhouse, and all of the adventures you guys have been having working on this game.
I definitely would not mind joining in again. That sounds like fun to me.
Fantastic. You're always welcome.
As
All
are
right.
you.
Thank you, thank you. In that case, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you all so very much for listening. This will be re-uploaded, so just keep an eye out for that. I will do my absolute darndest to have the live chat in there. I will not make a promise in case I fail in that endeavor, but we'll do what we can. So thank you all so much for listening. I hope you have...
all my fault.
We'll forgive you. It's okay.
I have failed you all.
It's okay. You haven't failed us. It's all right.
I must commit seppuku.
No, wait, no, we don't play Sudoku here. So thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you've all enjoyed. Make sure that if you want updates for the show and guest announcements every Tuesday, you head on over to Twitter at the Eljay Johnsen. Remember, that's an E, not an O. And you can have a good time there. And if you have any questions over the week, make sure to email them to me at ljjohnson@gmail.com. Once again, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you all have a fantastic day. Farewell.